All the comments now are like, he's so late. Okay, I have a problem, all right? But it's actually not helpful. I know. I'm aware.
Let me explain this to you in a metaphor you will understand. I am sure there are guys who have fingered you in the ass long enough that eventually you let them fuck it. And now you think you got me bent over with your finger in my ass, thinking I'm gonna let you do the same. I am not like you, Dana. You will not fuck me in the ass or anyone else.
I'm getting no feedback about the actual content of the show. It's all these boomers, you know.
I increased my drugs. I increased the insanity, increased the promiscuous life, increased hatred, was full of violence and totally suicidal. And then one day, standing in a bar, serving drinks, stealing from the place, everything they had, stealing and lying and getting high in the bathroom.
Well, I can't be a genius and have it all together. You know, if you want the on-time show, you have to be with some more stable broadcasters. But if you want someone who's totally epic...
I'm not going to say I'm sorry to them because they kept pushing at it. So, and that's all I'd really like to say.
What about your use of the N-word?
I used that word because they forced me into it.
Do you see how that's incredibly offensive?
Yes, I do. That's why I said it.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know, sometimes it takes 40 minutes to collect sometimes it takes 40 minutes to get it together here, okay? No, but yeah, leave a comment, but hey, let's make it constructive, all right?
So I want guidance. I want leadership. But don't just like boss me around, you know? Like lead me. Lead me when I'm in the mood to be led.
This is a revolution of the mind.
You know, Al, it's like we try so hard to grasp the truth, but it always slips away. And now that we finally have caught it, it turns out the truth is too dangerous to hold. I'm starting to think this is God's special way of torturing people who've committed taboos. Like this all our lives.
Time moves slow when you're all alone. And the time moves slow when you're out.
Makes Kamala qualified to become the next president of the United States?
She's not. She didn't go through the voting process. They scared of the system, but I was all by design.
So how do you think it's even possible that she is now running for president when she wasn't even voted in to be the electoral?
Good question. Because
to be the person.
Because it's part of prophecy. If you look at like Egyptian, Kamala means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower comes the sun god Ra. So what she's going to bring what he wanted. Back in the day, the sun god, along with Akhenaten, they were the rulers of the dynasty back in the day. They're going to bring economic doom because what you have to do, you have to destroy it before you rebuild it. They're gradually doing it now. That's why they got to have these conventions, because they need you to make a covenant with them and be in agreement with them to move forward. That's all this is. It's an exercise to participate in your own doom.
Okay.
This whole system was not built for American citizens. It was built for secret groups to run it, and they're running it.
There are other functions, however, some of them more legitimate than others,
One is to run secret wars, the covert action that's written and talked about so much, like what's happening in Nicaragua today from Honduras. Another thing is to disseminate propaganda to influence people's minds, and this is a major function of the CIA. And unfortunately, of course, it overlaps into the gathering of information. You have contact with a journalist, you will give him true stories, you'll get information from him, you'll also give him false stories.
Did you buy his confidence with true stories?
You buy his confidence and set him up. We've seen this happen recently with Jack Anderson, for example, who has his intelligence sources, and he has also admitted that he's been set up by them. You know, every fifth story just simply being false. You also work on their human vulnerabilities to recruit them in a classic sense, to make them your agent so that you can control what they do, so you don't have to set them up sort of, you know, by putting one over on them. So you can say, here, plant this one next Tuesday.
Can you do this with responsible reporters?
Yes, the Church Committee brought it out in 1975, and then Woodward and Bernstein put an article in Rolling Stone a couple of years later. 400 journalists cooperating with the CIA, including some of the biggest names in the business, to consciously introduce the stories into the press.
Well, give me a concrete example of how you use the press this way, how a false story is planted and how you got it published.
Well, for example, in my war, the Angola war that I helped to manage, 1/3 of my staff was propaganda. Ironically, it's called covert action inside the CIA. Outside, that means the violent part. I had propagandists all over the world, principally in London, Kinshasa, and Zambia. We would take stories which we would write and put them in the Zambia Times, and then pull them out and send them to a journalist on our payroll in Europe. But his cover story, you see, would be that he had gotten them from his stringer in Lusaka, who had gotten them from the Zambia Times. We had the complicity of the government of Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda, if you will, to put these false stories into his newspapers. But after that point, the journalists, Reuters and AFP, the management was not witting of it. Now, our contact man in Europe was, and we pumped just dozens of stories about Cuban atrocities, Cuban rapists. In one case, we had the Cuban rapists caught and tried by the Ovimbundu maidens who had been their victims, and then we ran photographs that made almost every newspaper in the country of the Cubans being executed by the Ovimbundu women who supposedly had been their victims.
These were fake photos?
Oh, absolutely. We didn't know of one single atrocity committed by the Cubans. It was pure, raw, false propaganda to create an illusion of communists, you know, eating babies for breakfast and that sort of totally false propaganda.
Everybody else fights the last war. Everybody else is a zombie. I'm the only one who thinks with an open mind. Everyone else is an idiot. Everyone else their mind is being controlled by the CIA. They all think the same. The CIA makes everybody think the same. Everybody's a Jedi mind trick zombie that will never do anything original. Everybody fights the last war. Not a single original thinker. Everybody is tricked by mental roadblocks placed by angels. You all think the same.
And so I'm hoping in 5 years I can write a book called, you know, We Are Ready for the Next Pandemic. But it'll take tens of billions in R&D that the US and the UK will be part of that. It'll take probably about $1 billion a year for a pandemic task force at the WHO level, which is doing the surveillance and actually doing what I call germ games, where you practice. You say, okay, what if a bioterrorist brought smallpox to 10 airports? You know, how would the world respond to that? You know, that there's naturally caused epidemics and bioterrorism caused epidemics that could even be way worse than what we experience today, and yet the advances in medical science should give us tools that, you know, we could do dramatically better. So you'd think this would be a priority. The next year will be where those allocations have to get made, including this global pandemic task force. The nice thing is a lot of the R&D we need to do to be ready for the next pandemic are things like making vaccines cheap, having big factories, eradicating the flu, getting rid of the common cold, making vaccines just a little patch you put on your arm, things that will be incredibly beneficial even in the years when we don't have pandemics. So, you know, along with the climate message and the ongoing fight against disease of the poor, the pandemic preparedness is something I'll be talking about a lot. And I think it'll find fertile ground because, you know, we lost trillions of dollars and millions of lives. And, you know, citizens expect their governments not to let that happen again.
I'm sorry. Your country gets more. Yeah, you dirty Americans. Get out of the way. This is the illegal immigrants' country. What do you guys think you're doing? This country's for illegal immigrants. You guys are dirty Americans. Get out of the way. How rude of you. How rude of you to think you have a country anymore. Hey, let's get another truck up here so no media can see this. In fact, let's just ban the media. Hey guys, we're gonna need you to shut your cameras off. We cannot document Biden's border invasion, okay? Everybody shut your cameras down, no free speech. The Border Patrol's here to tell me to shut up too. Sir, he says, an American citizen, unbelievable.
In the Bible or in the church, they talk about the fall of man. Same thing. There's only one difference between the Luciferian philosophy and the fall of man, is that those who talk about the fall of man believe in God, whether or not they believe in a Savior, they believe in God. The ones who believe in the Luciferian philosophy do not. Here's the way they look at it. Here's their metaphor for the end of innocence. Adam and Eve were held prisoner in the Garden of Eden by an unjust, cruel, and vindictive God. Until Lucifer, through his agent Satan, set man free from this garden by giving him the gift of intellect. Through the use of intellect, man will conquer the earth, will conquer nature, and will himself become God. It's taught in every Masonic temple in this land, every secret brotherhood, every secret society, every mystical temple, every occult organization teaches the Luciferian philosophy. You have to study these things to understand your enemy. Any general who ventures upon a battlefield without understanding the enemy is doomed to defeat. These people learned how to control others through the use of a hidden knowledge. Their whole goal with this philosophy is to teach all men and women that the only end of life is to seek the utmost pleasure and happiness that you can get out of it, because when you die, there's nothing else. That's what they teach. That's what they want you to be.
3 hours of half-naked guys fighting like animals.
Just like the ancient Romans.
Yeah, except their empire was falling apart.
Stupid Romans.
Israel conducts the most aggressive espionage operation against the United States. In June 2006, a Pentagon administrative judge overruled an appeal by an Israeli who had been denied a security clearance. If you can imagine that, an Israeli with a security clearance at the Pentagon, But anyway, they overruled him when he appealed it and said the Israeli government is actively engaged in military and industrial espionage in the United States. An Israeli citizen working in the U.S. who has access to proprietary information is likely to be a target of such espionage. More recently, FBI counterintelligence officer John Cole has reported how many cases of Israeli espionage are dropped under orders from the Justice Department. He provides a conservative estimate of 125 viable investigations into Israeli espionage that were stopped due to political pressure. The answer to the question, is Israel an ally of the United States, is most definitely no. Is it even a friend? Well, I suppose there are all kinds of friends in the world, but if you judge Israel by its record, I think the answer would also have to be no. Thank you.
And in America, the evil anti-Semitism is rampaging all throughout our cities, the Democrat Party, our left-wing media institutions, a certain candidate for the President of the United States, which is hard to believe, in our colleges and universities, they're going loco. They're going loco. Something's wrong with them. What is this? I never thought this could happen. You know, just to get off for a second, years ago, my father was a big supporter of Jewish people and Israel. He's not Jewish. He wasn't Jewish, but he was a great friend of a lot of Jewish people. And if you said, let's say 15 years ago, maybe not even that long, anything bad about Israel or Jewish people, you were finished as a politician, right? You were finished. You wouldn't do that, Congressman. You wouldn't do it anyway, but nobody would do it. The most powerful lobby in this country, by far, was Israel and Jewish people. Today, it's almost like, what happened? What happened? What happened to Schumer? What happened to all these people? Schumer's like a Palestinian, right? It's shocking because I grew up where Israel was just supported. My father was a builder in Brooklyn. And a lot of Jewish people, that's all he knew. That's all I knew, essentially. But we knew Jewish people, and they were great people. And we'd go to many events. I'd go with him, and it was great. When I'm president, we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip, and we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country for a lot of people.
But I am above all a reasonable man. Thus I have granted your leaders 1 week to surrender to the rule of doom, or suffer total annihilation.
So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me.
I'm sorry, the language must seem rather strange at first, but we take it very seriously. Just to show you how seriously, I'm going to tell you how we checked up on you. We call these things surgical transmitters. One was fitted inside you when you went into the Charing Cross Hospital 3 years ago. Appendix, wasn't it?
Transmitter? Are you trying to tell me that you listen to every word I say?
A machine does. Untouched by human hand. There's a little gadget in these things that ties up with the pulse rate. Puts a bleep onto anything that you're excited about saying. British.
Power quotient, surgical transmitters, high-speed tape. It's Doctor Who. I'm for the real world, Jack. Good afternoon.
I shall just have to give you an example. On July the 26th, 1966, you were talking to this girl, Sheila, about love. You said to her, I quote, "The kind of love I have for you, Sheila, well, it's bed love and it's more. It's staying in bed till 6 p.m. and saying I can't go to the office today. It's eating breakfast at twilight, laughing at leaves on the pavement.
I don't believe there's any such thing as these surgical transmitters. You got Sheila to tell you all this, then you wrote it down the way I might have said it. You're a good guesser.
Can you hear your heart beating?
It's eating breakfast at twilight, laughing at leaves on the pavement. Getting a cab to a silly movie to Paris. It's moving when you're tired of staying still. And I've done it all before when I could do it with no ties. Now to just be irresponsible. So there really is one of those things inside me. What do you want?
We want people with low power quotients. We want them to work for us. Nothing more sinister than that.
All this just to offer me a job.
Special sort of job. The newspapers talk about the corridors of power, the power elite. Let's just say we'd like you to join the club.
Oh.
There's a vacancy in our newsreel department. We'd like you to help plan the news for 1973.
Come again?
Plan the news for 1973. What are you doing?
I just want to make sure the sunlight's real.
I always tell people, news is the most highly developed form of fiction. The most difficult. Come on. I just want to show you something. There's no obligation to buy. Really. News requires imagination. News requires responsibility. We think you're well qualified. Please.
AA security, sprinkler systems and other services do not operate beyond this point.
$1973. We've only roughed out the news for 1973. Nothing's been given the go-ahead yet, but this is the kind of thing we have in mind. Come.
Today, April 14th, 1973. First historic pictures by RAD-STAR of the combined U.S.-Russian landing on the moon. Shown here are Majors Webb and Mikhailovich taking their first steps into the unknown, firing their retro-rockets to land their spacecraft on the dust-covered surface. A comforting note for us stay-at-homes, both the Pentagon and the Kremlin have announced that the moon has no strategic value.
A comforting note for us stay-at-home. I can't show you any film on this next model. We haven't photographed it yet. But this is the way it will sound.
June the 22nd, 1973. The State Department releases film of the ultimate weapon, codenamed Icarus. This satellite is equipped with a solid reactor. In layman's terms, it can freeze air solid, stopping all missiles, killing all forms of life. Icarus orbits at the same speed as the Earth, can hang in position over every major city that threatens the peace-loving nations.
Rather proud of this one. Come on. please. Sit down, Mr. Lutton.
September the 5th, 1973. The new phase in global warfare. War by example. At 4:32 our time, China took out the remote Indian border village of Bandar, unprotected by the Icarus network. After the first 2 5-megaton H-bombs have fallen, the 9-way hotline finally...
Switch it off.
But
This is going to happen in 1973. You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models, much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yes, you're getting there. I knew you would.
Well, now the moon rocket and the satellite, that you can get away with. That's too remote for people to grasp. It's too far away, but this... I mean, you invented this village on the Indo-Chinese border.
Oh, yes.
Well, somebody could check up.
Very mountainous territory up there. There'll be no survivors in 1973. No rescue work. Radiation scare.
Yes. You can do it. This could be the news for 1973.
Not necessarily exactly like this. We only plan in detail 1 year ahead.
Oh, you only plan 1 year ahead.
Hey, tell me, what is the news item that's bothered you the most in the past year, 1967?
Oh, well, it has to be the new American intercontinental ballistic missile, the Boy Wonder, doesn't it?
Just the one I asked him to set up for you. The new ICBM, codename Boy Wonder, with a much-talked-about Mercury warhead. I haven't any special effects up here, but perhaps with the proper sound. Blast off. And Robert Larkin, television director, high IQ, 35 years old, is scared. Scared by nothing. It doesn't work. It's a scientific impossibility. The same goes for the much-talked-about Mercury warhead. Perspex.
Well, if this rocket doesn't work, then the others...
They have a fireworks party at Cape Kennedy almost every other day. Well, you didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean...
I support buybacks, and I think that, look, we have 5 million assault weapons on the streets of America, and we have 5 million assault weapons on the streets of America. And assault weapons have been designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. They are weapons of war, and there is no place for them on a civil society, on the streets of a civil society. And it's something I'm so passionate about and so looking forward to being president to address. We've got to deal with this.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory.
Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment, listen, we're going to have to do it the right way. There's no question about that. But we don't have any, we have to get these guns off the street. But I also, you know, I have faith in the American people to know that, you know, that we want to comply with our laws, and that I know that to be true.
Women are not without electoral or political power. No kidding.
And don't like when they know that you're on psych meds, you fucking lunatic.
You don't feel that climate science is a real science?
It is, well, there's several different things one could say.
Partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, you know, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in.
So we just pour the water at top here into this tank, and it doesn't need a lot of water. In fact, water is a perfect carrier of hydrogen, as it is primarily H2O.
Okay.
So all that we do is, once it's inside the tank, it flows into our proprietary electrolysis cell that sits at the base of the stove here. I'm going to come across on this side.
Okay.
And actually what I'll do is I'll show you how fast it electrolyzes. This is fascinating, how quickly it creates the gas. So take a look at this. As soon as I open it, you'll see the hydrogen gas coming out.
Okay.
So that's the gas there. It's quite faint, but as you can see it, that's the hydrogen gas being produced immediately from water.
The gas is already there.
It's already there.
Less than 2 seconds, the gas is being produced.
So now, as I close it, what's happening is the gas is then being rerouted to the burners here. There's 2 burners. So once I turn it off, turn it on again, there are 2 burners. I'll go ahead and
actually see bubbles of water from there.
That's it. That's the gas with the bubbles. And then I'm just going to go ahead and ignite this flame. And as you can see, hydrogen burns orange. So this is actually a very hot flame.
It's a flame.
Roughly 1600 degrees, but we had to make the flames quite small in order to make very efficient cooking. So this is one of the most
really hot. I could
really
actually feel the heat.
Yeah, already even sitting there, right? So
how long can a bottle of water last? How many? You know, in Kenya, the favorite delicacy is githeri.
Yeah.
It's boiled here for probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
How much water would I need to boil food for 2 hours?
Fantastic question. I'll just go ahead and turn it off so you could hear But very simple. That's how it works. And with this technology, what's most fascinating about it is how little water it uses. Yeah. This tank holds 2 liters of water. From our calculations, we've been able to cook for 5 days on 2 liters of water. 5 days.
This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends.
Well, I don't know if, I'm sure you've all seen this because you've been logging in to NNN. I'm sure you're saying that, are you sure you want to go to Eddie Griffin's page? Because the fact checkers have said that I'm dispersing false information. No, I'm delivering truth as I see it. Now, I thought YouTube was about opinions. That's why it's called YouTube. It's my tube. It's my YouTube, mother. Y'all can't tell me what to fucking say and how to say it. You shouldn't have wrote freedom of speech if you didn't want mother to use that goddamn shit. Now, I don't know who the fact checkers is, but you need to check the facts and send me a list of these fact checkers, cause you don't have them. You lying sons of bitches. Yeah, where the f they getting their facts from? Facts are relative. God damn it. Is it a fact that a female can box a dude? Is it a fact that you can tell a kid that he can change his sex at motherfucking 8, 9, 10 years old? Is that a fact checker? Are you not a male when you're born with 2 balls and a dick? Fact check that. Are you not a female when you're born with 2 ovaries and a clit? Fact check that, you fact checking motherfuckers. Oh yeah, and I'm going against community guidelines. What is the community guidelines, huh? Send me that. What community are you talking about? My community? Or your community? Or Chinese community? Or Asian community? Or Israel community? What community are you talking about? UK community? What community? You don't like what I say, you don't have to be on my motherfucking network. That's all I'm saying. Freedom of choice. They can click on or click the fuck off, but stop trying to lead them in the click off motherfucking position. Before I sue you motherfuckers, cause you owe me goddamn money, you sons of bitches. Now, fact check that. Tat.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more.
She asked you what you're going to do about inflation.
What that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
You still ain't answered the goddamn question. What are you going to do about inflation?
That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic,
she's talking
but
about
is
inflation.
on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously.
We take?
Very seriously.
She asked you.
And we know from the history of this issue in the United States.
So you got 2 or 3 motherfuckers inside of you? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because you keep saying this is what we plan. Who the fuck is the we, huh? She asked you a specific question, and you danced around all this shit because you don't know what inflation, the definition of it really means, do you? It means the Federal Reserve keeps printing motherfucking money so the value of your dollar goes down. That's inflation.
Fire duck.
I'm welcome for what?
You were an okay chef when you started.
I need fucking hands.
And you left an excellent chef. So you're welcome.
Where are hands?
You gave me ulcers. And panic attacks and nightmares. You know that,
please.
Right? Do you understand that? I didn't have a lot of friends growing up.
Fucking hands!
I had a stutter when I was a kid. I was scared to speak half the time.
Fuck!
Hey.
And
I need you.
they're going too fucking slow!
No, ask you.
I got shitty grades. So I couldn't pay attention in school. I didn't get into college. I didn't have any girlfriends. I don't think I'm funny.
I'm not your fucking babysitter.
Hey.
We have breaking news. ABC News has learned the Department of Homeland Security's internal watchdog is saying the U.S. government lost track of thousands of unaccompanied migrant minors released from custody. A new report was sent to Congress today, obtained exclusively by ABC News. It says in the past 5 years, more than 32,000 unaccompanied migrant children failed to appear for their immigration court hearings. It also says Immigration and Customs Enforcement was, quote, not able to account for all of their locations. The DHS Inspector General is now calling on the U.S. to take urgent action to ensure those children's safety. Let's bring in ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin for more. Olivia, 32,000 sounds like a lot. So walk me through what these numbers mean and what kind of danger these kids could be in. What's the main concern here?
Yeah, a stunning number, Diane, 32,000, and you said, and right off the top, a big shout out to our reporter Mike Levine for getting this and shedding light on this issue. I think the safety of it all, what you just hit on there, is one of the screaming headlines from this report, because as the watchdog lays out, these immigration hearings that the children are not showing up for are one of the only ways that they have to check on them and ensure that they are safe from issues like trafficking, a real issue that some of them face. And I want to read to you this one line that says, without the ability to monitor the location status, ICE, quote, has no assurance that they are safe from trafficking, exploitation, or forced labor. So this report really is raising the possibility that some of these children are in serious danger here. And when you ask about, why this is happening, the report does lay out a number of issues, both internal and external, including staffing issues, which is why they are not able to address all of these children, Diane.
Now, Olivia, this internal watchdog report is calling this an urgent issue. So what kind of action are you expecting to see from the U.S. government to now address this? How do they go about doing that?
Well, one of the issues that was laid out in the report, Diane, is that there is no, automatic internal system to track these children. What the watchdog report is citing is sort of this complex, outdated interagency system that's blocking information sharing. They also raised the issue of staffing issues within ICE. So what this report says, and there's a brief rebuttal from the Department of Homeland Security saying that they have agreed, and this seems to be the significant change here, they have agreed to integrate an automated system that would allow for the better tracking of these children, including who's appearing for notices, addresses for these unaccompanied minors in this country that could potentially here lead to better tracking of these unaccompanied minors, Diane.
Olivia Rubin, thank you as always.
شو اسمك؟
محاسن.
قديش عمرك؟
هلا 10.
هلا عمرك 10 سنوات؟ بتروحي على المدرسة؟
لا.
انت بأي صف؟
أنا ثالث.
مين طلعك من المدرسة؟
خطيبي أحمد.
انت مخطوبة؟ قديش عمره أحمد؟
ما بعرف.
قدك؟
لا.
أحمد كبير أو صغير؟
طويل.
مساء الخير أحمد.
خير، مساء النور.
مين بتكون محاسن؟
خطيبتي.
قديش عمرك أحمد؟
أنا 25 سنة.
عمرك 25 سنة. ومحاسن عمرها 10 سنين. قديش كان عمرها لما تعرفت عليها؟
هي شي 8 سنين.
كان عمرها 8 سنين لما تعرفت عليها.
يعني هلا فيك تقول فايتة بال11.
كيف تعرفت عليها؟
يعني في قربة بيناتنا.
في قربة بيناتنا؟
ايه.
الزواج أين تم؟
الزواج بس لتكبر شوي.
يعني أين تم؟
شي سنة بس تصير هيك شوي كبيرة وضاجة.
شو بيختلف من هلا عمر 10 سنين لبعد سنة؟ شو ممكن يختلف؟
يختلف كثير.
شو لفتك أحمد بطفلة عمرها 10 سنوات؟
أنا بيكفيني ربيع على إيدي وما بدي فلتة من إيدي.
شو يعني تربية على إيدك؟
إنه بيكفي إنه أنا داير عليها ودير بالي عليها وحابة وحبتني ومتفقين مع بعض يعني على كل شيء.
طفلة عمرها 10 سنوات قاصر جسديا، شو لفتك فيها؟
أنا صار لي 3 سنين معها، فهمت علي كيف؟ حبيتها يعني حبتني.
سؤال، بتعرف الزواج هي علاقة بين رجل ومرأة، هو تناغم فكري، تناغم عاطفي، ولكن أيضا علاقة جسدية وتناغم وانجذاب جسدي. شو اللي جذبك بطفل قاصر عمرها 10 سنوات؟
يعني برجع بقول لك، قلت لك وحرجع اقول لك حبيتها وطلبتها من ابوها، لانه انا ما تاخذني بهالكلمه، الجيل هلا كلها ما دخل بعقلي.
I shot my wife and her mom and her stepdad. Cold-blooded murder this afternoon.
Okay.
Shot them each twice in the head.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's about as straightforward as it gets.
Well, I would just do cocaine. That was really, yeah. So not just, yeah. And it was
that's down and dirty, right?
Yeah, and this.
Shut the fuck up.
Is cocaine a stronger?
Oh yeah.
Up.
Who gives a fuck? Okay, listen. Yeah, you listen.
It's your life, bitch.
Then and I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger
oh, yeah.
up?
Yeah. Cocaine
So,
will make
you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, you know, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
And is that a good feeling while?
No.
Gradually, then suddenly. That's how depression hits. You wake up one morning afraid that you're going to live.
You drift from day to day. Years go by. Then a change comes. I am able to change. I can be a good person. What a strange thing to happen halfway through your life.
I think there's something wrong with me. What do you mean? Like what? Are you sick? I don't know. I feel really weird. I feel like I'm having a panic attack.
I'm sorry that I'm not a person anymore. I'm a problem. And it's all my fault.
Fuck fault. Fault and blame have no place here. Only how you want to live moving forward. Who you want to be.
This is Tal Hanan.
Searching for her pictures. Let's see. No, I don't like it. Where are you looking at pictures? She doesn't look Canadian. I'm not going to tell you. I have to kill you later. I don't want to do that, you know. Then we have to trust your body in the facts.
Do you think that these documents should be turned over to the United States Congress? And do you think that both General Donahue and Admiral Vasely should testify before Congress?
Sure, I absolutely do. I believe transparency. You're the board of directors for this corporation called the American government. And I believe that you're entitled to those within the bounds of classification. You're the board of directors for this corporation called the American government. The board of directors for this corporation called the American government.
And ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published.
Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Shut the fuck up.
Page 1, Articles of Incorporation, filed 7/15/25, 7 pages. Page 2, Certificate of Incorporation of United States Corporation Company, filed in Office Secretary of State of the State of Florida this 15th day of July AD 1925, signed by H. Clay Crawford, Secretary of State. United States Corporation Company, Dover, Chicago, Albany, St. Louis, Jersey City, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. International Corporation Company, Rue de la Paix, Paris. Executive Office, 65 Cedar Street, New York City. Page 3. Received July 15, 1925, State of Florida. Certificate of Incorporation of United States Corporation Company. Number 1. The name of the corporation is United States Corporation Company. Number 2. The nature of the business and the objects and purposes proposed to be transacted, promoted, or carried on by the corporation are as follows. To prepare or cause to be prepared and procure to be filed, recorded, registered, published, issued, or granted in accordance with law, articles or certificates of incorporation, applications for letter patent, charters, and other instruments relating to the incorporation and organization of corporations and joint stock companies. To prepare or cause to be prepared and procured to be filed, recorded, registered, published, issued, or granted, certificates, reports, statements, applications for licenses to do business, or other instruments in relation to domestic and foreign corporations, companies, or associations. To provide and maintain domiciliary and other offices and facilities for corporations, companies, and associations, and to act as agent in charge thereof, and upon whom process against or any official notices to any such corporation, company, or association may be served or given, and for any other lawful purpose. To act as the fiscal or transfer agent of or registrar of the stock or securities issued by any public or private corporation, and in such capacity to receive and disburse money. Page 4. To transfer, register, countersign, issue, and deliver certificates of stocks, bonds, or other evidences of indebtedness, and to act as agent of any corporation, foreign or domestic, for any lawful purpose. To carry on the business of an appraisal and audit company, and in connection therewith, to make examinations and appraisals of the business and property of corporations and individuals, to examine and audit their books and accounts, and to make reports and certificates in respect thereof. To publish and deal in books, periodicals, pamphlets, legal forms, and blanks of all kinds. To acquire by purchase or otherwise, and to hold for investment or otherwise, to use, sell, lease, or dispose of real estate and real property, and any interest, estate, or rights therein. To acquire by purchase, subscription, or otherwise, and to hold for investment or otherwise, and to use, sell, or dispose of shares of stock, bonds, or any other obligations or securities of any corporation, domestic or foreign. To aid in any manner any corporation whose shares of stock, bonds, or other obligations are held, or in any manner guaranteed by the company, or in which the company is in any way interested, and to do any other acts or things for the preservation, protection, improvement, or enhancement of the value of any such shares of stock, bonds, or other obligations, or to do any acts or things designed for any such purpose. And while owner of any such shares of stock, bonds, or other obligations, to exercise all the rights, powers, and privileges of ownership thereof, and to exercise any and all voting powers thereon. To acquire by purchase or otherwise, and to hold, own, use, grant licenses in respect to, or otherwise turn to, account or dispose of any copyrights, trademarks, inventions, patent rights, and letters patent of the United States or of any other country. The business of the corporation is from time to time to do any one or more of the acts and things herein set forth, and it may conduct business in the state of Florida, other states, the District of Columbia, the territories and colonies of the United States, and in foreign countries, have one or more offices out of the state of Florida, and hold, purchase, mortgage, and convey real and personal property with or without of the state of Florida. Number 3. The maximum number of shares which this corporation is authorized to have outstanding at any one time is 100, each of which shares shall have a par value of $100. Number 4. The amount of capital with which the corporation will begin business is $500. Number 5. The corporation is to have perpetual existence. Number 6. The principal office of the corporation shall be located in the Centennial Building, Tallahassee, Leon County. Number 7. The number of directors shall be 3. Number 8. The names of the directors who shall hold office for the first year of the corporation's existence, or until their successors are elected and have qualified, and their post office addresses are as follows. Page 6. Harry O. Coughlin, 150 Broadway, New York, New York. Samuel B. Howard, 150 Broadway, New York, New York. Arthur W. Britton, 150 Broadway, New York, New York. Number 9. The names and post office addresses of the subscribers of this certificate and the number of shares of stock which each agrees to take are as follows. Louis B. Gunther, 150 Broadway, New York, New York, 2 shares. Samuel B. Howard, 150 Broadway, New York, New York, 2 shares. Arthur W. Britton, 150 Broadway, New York, New York, 1 share. Number 10. The directors and stockholders shall have power to hold their meetings and to have one or more offices and to keep the books of the corporation, except the original or duplicate stock ledger, outside of the state of Florida, at such place or places as from time to time may be designated by the bylaws or by resolution of the board. The directors shall have power, without the assent or vote of the stockholders, to make and alter bylaws of the corporation, to fix the times for the declaration and payment of dividends, and to fix and vary the amount to be reserved as working capital, to determine the use and disposition of any surplus or net profits over and above the capital stock paid in, and in their discretion, the directors may use and apply any such surplus or accumulated profits in purchasing or acquiring the bonds or other obligations or shares of the capital stock of the corporation to such an extent and in such manner and upon such terms as the directors shall deem expedient. But shares of such capital stock so purchased or acquired may be resold unless such shares shall have been retired for the purposes of decreasing the corporation's capital stock as provided by law. Page 7. We, the undersigned, being each of the original subscribers to capital stock hereinbefore named, do hereby associate for the purpose of establishing a corporation pursuant to the Corporation Law, State of Florida, 1925. Witness our hands and seals the 7th day of July, 1925. Louis H. Gunther, Samuel B. Howard, Arthur W. Britton. In presence of Samuel G. Wood, as to all. State of New York, County of New York, July 7th A.D., 1925, personally appeared before me, a notary public, in and for New York County, duly authorized to take acknowledgments. Louis H. Gunther, Samuel B. Howard, and Arthur W. Britton, to me known and known to me to be the persons described in and who executed the foregoing instruments, who each acknowledged to me that he executed the same freely and voluntarily as and for his act and deed for the uses and purposes therein expressed. Witness my hand and official seal the day and year in this certificate first above written at New York, New York County, New York. Samuel G. Wood, Notary Public. My commission expires March 30th, 1927. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their money, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless. Thomas Jefferson. Following is a timeline demonstrating when and how a private central banking cartel got control of the people and the assets of the United States. Each fact is supported by official sources. Source documents, SD, are available at www.anticorruptionsociety.com under the tab Source Documents. 1913. With the passage of the Federal Reserve Act, a private foreign banking cartel was made the fiscal agent of the United States. Source document, Representative McFadden, Congressional Record, June 1932. From the website of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, quote, "The entry of the United States into World War I added to the responsibilities of the young Federal Reserve Bank. It helped finance U.S. military expenditures by becoming the fiscal agent of the federal government." (1920) Congress handed the U.S. Treasury over to the same private banking cartel via the Independent Treasury Act. Source document, Independent Treasury Act, 1920. 1921. The Council on Foreign Relations was founded to direct the media. Paul Warburg was its first director. Warburg also drafted the Federal Reserve Act and became the Fed's first governor. Paul Warburg was an agent for the foreign Rothschild banking dynasty. 1925. The United States Corporation Company was chartered in Florida by its fiscal agent. Source document, Articles of Incorporation, United States Corporation Company, 1925. This company was created without the approval of Congress nor the knowledge and authority of the American people. Note, in 1925, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York had offices on Cedar Street and on Broadway, both cited in the Articles of Incorporation. Source document, Articles of Incorporation, United States Corporation Company, 1925. 1920s. The U.S. Treasury was raided by the private Federal Reserve bankers, who then caused the Great Depression and bankrupted the United States Corporation Company. Source document, Representative McFadden, Congressional Record, June 1932. 1933. A state of emergency was claimed, and Congress gave the President unconstitutional emergency powers. Source document, Congressional Record, March 1933. On behalf of the private Federal Reserve, President Roosevelt confiscated the people's gold and forced all to use their private currency, the Federal Reserve note, from then on. Source document, Congressional Record, March 1933. The property and the people of the United States was hypothecated and placed unlawfully in a public trust. Source document, Representative Trafficant, Congressional Record, March 1993. The Internal Revenue Service was chartered in Delaware as a private corporation. It is not a division of the U.S. Treasury. Source document, Internal Revenue Service Corporate Charter, 1933. The U.S. President, CEO, has maintained unconstitutional dictatorial emergency power for the last 80 years. Source documents, Senate Report 93549, 1973, and Continuation of the National Emergency, 2012-2013. Today, as has been demonstrated, the United States is just a corporate franchised network represented by their all-cap names such as State of Ohio. Corporate statutes have replaced laws. A corporate statute is a rule of a corporation given the force of law by the consent of the people. This consent generally requires a signed contract. As corporations have no souls to save nor bodies to incarcerate, they are just dead legal structures. A dead legal structure cannot represent living people nor obligate them to laws. Therefore, a corporation cannot be a sovereign government. It can only be a legal structure for commercial contracts, which is all the so-called United States government franchise network is.
Motherfucker!
Mondex is a corporation that is probably going to be one of the one of the key players in the end times here toward the mark of the beast. Monetary and Dexter, this is what it is. It's a combination of these two words. It's how they chose the name Mondex for their corporation. Webster's dictionary defines monetary as pertaining to money and Dexter as belonging to or located on the right hand. If someone is ambidextrous, what does that mean? They can use both hands, right? Dexter has relating to the hand. The word ambidextrous means able to use both hands, and Dexter means pertaining to the right hand. So MasterCard has 51% ownership of Mondex. Of course, MasterCard is one of the biggest, credit card companies there is. Now think about how the sequence here. You go to the store, you buy something from the store, they scan it over the scanner. It's all done electronically. Then they swipe your MasterCard. A phone call is made. Does this guy really have money? Comes back, yeah, he's fine. Go ahead, accept it. And the store must pay somewhere between 2 and 4% to MasterCard of the purchase. If you buy something for $100, MasterCard makes either $2, $3, or $4, depending on what arrangement they have set up. And they didn't do anything except guarantee that the card was good. And they have pretty high fraud rate, which I'm sure some of their interest, plus the person's going to pay interest on that card. So not only is it the interest you pay on your MasterCard, every time you purchase, the store must pay 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% to MasterCard just for the privilege of letting you do that. That gets to be an awful lot of money if you buy something. We bought a car once, not a new car, we bought a used car for my wife on a credit card. And the MasterCard made a fortune off of that, 2 or 3%. I think it was like $9,000, for this used car, or $10,000, and it amounts to a few dollars. It's just one transaction. So the same phone call. It didn't cost them much of anything. One of the leaders, Robin Kelly, said, "This is the final stage in becoming a global reality," said Robin Kelly of Mondex International. "With MasterCard's backing, there's nothing to stop Mondex now from becoming the global standard." You need to keep an eye open for smart cards. They are coming next. You guys in the military already have a Mark card, which has an enormous amount of information in there. It's a little computer circuit built right into a card. You got yours with you? You got to have it with you, right? Steve, you got yours? That little Mark card. The next step is very simple. It becomes a little microchip, and it's injected in the right hand. I met last night, I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I met with, this morning I was in Little Rock, but I met with Carl Sanders. Carl Sanders has been a friend of mine for years. He is one of the guys who helped invent the little microchip. And he travels all over and speaks on this topic. He's a Christian and shows people, look folks, we are very close to the coming of the Lord. 20 years ago, the prophecy that everybody would receive a mark in their hand or in their forehead before you could buy or sell. 20 years ago, that was people laughed at that prophecy. Yeah, right. How are you going to get a mark to buy or sell? And Carl Sanders has a lot of information how the Greek word for mark is etching, and microchips are etched in the silicone. He goes through a whole series of how it fits exactly what the book of Revelation says is going to happen. Some type of little chip is probably what's going to be the mark of the beast, and it's going to be in the right hand or the forehead. Anyway, smart cards are here. SET technology means secure electronic transaction. Everybody that uses their credit card, of course, wants to make sure, is this secure? Are you going to give my credit card number to other people so they can charge stuff? You know, it's assumed that the card is secure. It's called SET technology. It's interesting they chose that name because Set is the Egyptian god of evil, or Satan. It's just a coincidence, I'm sure, but AT&T Lucent Technologies purchased the franchise from Mondex USA. Their logo is the symbol of the solar serpent, the red dragon, which is Lucifer. How many have ever seen Lucent Technologies red circle? You see it all over the place on telephones. I mean, there's a huge corporation. Lucent is composed from Lucifer and Enterprises. They seem to be quite flagrant in naming their products. Styx is the name of one of their products, which is a river in Hades, according to the Satan worshippers. Janus, that's the two-faced god. You can use Janus, I believe, to order stocks or bonds or something like that. You ever heard of Janus? That's the two-faced god. I'm not saying everybody involved in this is evil. Half the folks probably don't even know. But Satan does have plans for a one-world government. And you have to control the money. People will not be able to buy or sell without their authority. Right now, if you did not have any cash, and you didn't have a checkbook, and you went to the store to buy something, what would they do? They would not let you buy it, right? It's just going to be very simple. I don't think there's going to be a big thing where Christians get to stand up and say, I'm refusing to take this mark, here, chop my head off. It just won't be an opportunity like that. I think it'll just be a quiet, gradual choking of the system where if you don't have this mark, you just simply don't buy. No stores will take cash anymore. No stores will take credit cards. Anyway, this is the things I've been told about some of this, so you can read it for yourself and check it out if you'd like. There's email and website to get information. But Lucent Technologies is naming their products like Styx and Janus. Inferno, promoted with a quote from the Inferno, a story about Lucifer in the bowels of hell. This company deliberately chose to move their new offices into 666 Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. That's what I was told, and I saw the picture of the building, 666 on the building. Now, whether they moved since then or not, I don't know, but that was, somebody sent me a video about that. There's a lot of information going around.
You're under arrest on suspicion of partaking in a conspiracy to interfere with key national infrastructure. The grounds that information has been received by the police, which indicates you were part of a plot to cause serious disruption to UK airports.
Sorry.
Yeah, that way.
I'm being arrested for suspicion of, I can't remember, what did you say it was, sorry? Suspicion of, to cause, I can't remember what. I think it was disrupting UK airports. Oh, suspicion to do something at an airport. I think it's conspiracy, isn't it? Conspiracy. Okay, I'll get my colleague just read it back out for you if you like. It's 5 AM. I've just been woken up. I'm meant to be moving house today. Yeah.
This is the police looking through my mum's desk.
Yeah, nice one.
So far you've taken a bit of paper and a phone, just so I know, but you'll give us a receipt as well.
That's a bit more.
There we are. Take a seat for me. Love you. See you later.
Step back. Thank you.
Do you know why we're here?
Not really, no.
So at this time, 08:10, you are under arrest on suspicion of partaking in conspiracy to interfere with key national infrastructure. The grounds are that the information has been received by police, which indicates that you are part of a plot to cause serious disruption to UK airports.
Just so you know, guys, with the power of arrests, we've got power to search the premises, okay? There's section 18. Right. So we're also going to be doing that, okay? Just looking for anything involved in, obviously, the plot to go to the airport to disrupt.
I'm being arrested for conspiracy to cause public nuisance at airports this morning. We have no idea what's led them to this point, but here we are. This is our police state.
The song is called I Am So Sad. I am so very, very sad. Goes a little something like this.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. From the gang called niggas with attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a sawed off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you fuck with me. The police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the punk motherfuckers that's showing out. Niggas want the mumble, they wanna rumble. Mix them and cook them in a pot like gumbo. Going off on the motherfucker like that. With a gat that's pointed at your ass.
This rifle is a lightweight, air-cooled, gas-operated, magazine-fed shoulder weapon. It fires a 5.56 millimeter ball projectile, muzzle velocity 2,800 feet per second. This is my rifle. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Repeat after me!
This is my rifle.
Say the fucking words!
There are
many like it.
But this one is mine.
Without my rifle, I am nothing. Say it, you fucking idiot!
No!
This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
A man fires a rifle for many years, and he goes to war.
I'm waiting for you to leave so I can watch it.
And afterwards he comes home.
Why do you want to watch it again?
And he sees that whatever else he might do with his life, build a house, love a woman,
glad to be here?
change his son's diaper.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm glad to be here.
He will always remain a jarhead.